Earlier this week, we told you about the Ebensburg Borough digging up a time capsule buried in 1975. Today, for the borough's homecoming, they celebrated their bicentennial by showing off the artifacts inside the vault. John Drager got a look at what was inside and learned more about how they plan to repeat that process soon.
For 200 years, some residents have called Ebensburg home, and those who left have come back to visit every year at the end of July. 50 years ago, one generation wanted to remind those present today of the area's past.
All I remember is the excitement and how many people were around. And the big deal was talking about 50 years down the road, and when you're 30-some years old, you don't think much about what's 50 years away.
The contents of a 1975 time capsule filled with newspapers, coins, and other items were scattered around the Historical Society tables for people to take a trip down memory lane.
It was interesting to see just where some of the letters and notes came from. Of course, there were local politicians, Congressman Murtha and so forth at the time. Also a letter from the office of Neil Armstrong, as well as a message from President Gerald Ford at the time.
And taking a look at all that laid on the table, a comparison of the original copies to the ones found underneath Veterans Memorial Park. Those who were not present when the burial happened listened to the people who were as they reminisced.
Everybody says, oh, I remember this or I remember that, and it's interesting. Everybody's got a different memory, a different picture, a different mindset.
I like the personal stories about what they were doing at the time, what their families were doing, what was going on really in the borough, and it was good to hear just the types of things that people were doing back in 1975.
But as they look back and learn from the past, the borough is ready to move forward in the future and make the upcoming time capsule sturdier and easier to locate for the next generation.
There are other vessels available that are much stronger, more importantly would be sealed. The other thing is that I don't think it needs to be as deep as this one. We had a hard time finding it at about 6.5 feet deep. So probably just a couple of feet deep.
And soon people can make their contributions to the time capsule, which will be buried in September. Just make sure to get it in on time to prevent throwing it into the ground before the dirt, like Doug McBreen's orange knit hat in '75.
It's interesting that at the last second he just threw it in there. We may have somebody do that again this year, because obviously once you hear something like that, there's probably some others out there that might want to be remembered.
In Ebensburg, John Drager, WTAJ News.